Tom couldn't sleep. Again, he tossed and turned, his mind replaying the same painful memories that had haunted him for years. As the first light of dawn crept through his window, he gave up and got out of bed, feeling exhausted and defeated. At work, Tom went through the motions, barely speaking to his coworkers. His boss, Sarah, noticed his lack of energy and constant frown. "Tom, are you okay?" she asked, concern in her voice. "I'm fine," Tom mumbled, avoiding eye contact. But he wasn't fine. Tom was drowning in regret, unable to forgive himself for past mistakes. The heaviest burden was the memory of his younger brother, Jack. 10 years ago, when Tom was 25 and Jack was 18, they had a huge fight. Tom, stressed from his new job, lashed out at Jack for being lazy and wasting his life. He said horrible things he didn't mean, telling Jack he was a disappointment to the family. Jack stormed out of the house that night. He got into a car accident while driving angry. Though he survived, he was left paralyzed from the waist down. Tom replayed that night over and over in his head. If only he hadn't yelled. If only he'd been more understanding. If only he'd stopped Jack from leaving. The if-onlys were endless, and they were crushing Tom's spirit. His relationship with Jack was never the same after that. Though Jack had forgiven him years ago, Tom couldn't forgive himself. He avoided family gatherings, pushed away friends, and threw himself into work to avoid dealing with his emotions. As the weeks passed, Tom's depression deepened. He started missing work and rarely left his apartment. Sarah, worried about her once bright employee, reached out again. "Tom, I'm concerned about you," she said over the phone. "I think you should talk to someone. I can recommend a great therapist if you're interested." Tom wanted to refuse, but he was so tired of feeling this way. "Okay," he said quietly. "I'll try." The next week, Tom found himself sitting across from Dr. Emily Chun, a kind-faced woman in her 50s. "So, Tom," Dr. Chun said gently, "can you tell me what brought you here today?" Tom took a deep breath and began to share his story. As he spoke about Jack and that fateful night, tears rolled down his cheeks. Dr. Chun listened patiently, offering tissues and words of encouragement. When Tom finished, Dr. Chun said, "Thank you for sharing that, Tom. It's clear you're carrying a lot of pain and regret. But I want you to know that there are ways to heal and move forward." Over the next few months, Tom worked with Dr. Chun to address his regret and depression. She taught him several techniques. 1. Mindfulness meditation. Dr. Chun showed Tom how to focus on the present moment instead of dwelling on the past. "When you find your mind wandering to those painful memories," she explained, "gently bring your attention back to your breath or your surroundings." 2. Reframing negative thoughts. They worked on challenging Tom's self-critical thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'm a terrible person," try, "I made a mistake, but I've learned from it," Dr. Chun suggested. 3. Self-compassion exercises. Tom learned to treat himself with the same kindness he'd show a friend. Dr. Chun encouraged him to write self-compassionate letters to himself. 4. Gradual exposure. They slowly worked on Tom reconnecting with his family, starting with short phone calls to Jack. 5. Volunteer work. Dr. Chun suggested Tom volunteer at a rehabilitation center for accident victims. "Sometimes, helping others can be healing for ourselves," she explained. 6. Chanting the Heart Sutra. Dr. Chun introduced Tom to the practice of chanting the Heart Sutra, a Buddhist text. She explained, "The Heart Sutra is a short but powerful text that talks about emptiness and the nature of reality. Chanting can help you feel more peaceful, less stuck in your thoughts, and offer a new perspective on life." As Tom practiced these techniques, he slowly began to feel lighter. The regret didn't disappear entirely, but it no longer consumed him. One day, about 6 months into therapy, Tom decided to visit Jack. He stood nervously at his brother's door, then knocked. Jack opened the door, surprise evident on his face. "Tom, I didn't expect to see you." "Hi, Jack," Tom said, his voice shaky. "I was hoping we could talk." Jack wheeled back, allowing Tom to enter. They sat in awkward silence for a moment before Tom spoke. I'm so sorry, Jack. For everything. Not just for that night, but for avoiding you all these years. I couldn't face what I'd done. Jack's expression softened. Tom, I forgave you a long time ago. I've been waiting for you to forgive yourself. Tears welled up in Tom's eyes. I'm trying to, he said. I'm getting help, and I want to be a better brother to you, if you'll let me. Jack reached out and squeezed Tom's hand. I'd like that, he said, smiling. As Tom left Jack's house that day, he felt a glimmer of hope he hadn't experienced in years. The weight of regret hadn't completely lifted, but for the first time, he felt he could carry it. Over time, with continued therapy and effort, Tom learned to live with his past without being controlled by it. He rebuilt his relationship with Jack, became more engaged at work, and even started dating again. One evening, as Tom sat on his balcony watching the sunset, he realized something. He couldn't change the past, but he could shape his future. And for the first time in a long time, he was looking forward to it. 单字 toss and turn. 有指因无法入睡而翻来覆去，辗转反侧. To move about from side to side or turn a lot in bed, especially because you cannot sleep. Haunt. 使经常苦恼，不断困扰. Verb. To cause repeated suffering or anxiety. Paralyze. 使瘫痪. Verb. To cause a person, animal, or part of the body to lose the ability to move or feel. Tissue. 有指擦鼻子用的，纸巾，面纸. Noun. Soft paper that is used for cleaning, especially your nose, and is thrown away after use, or a small rectangular piece of this. Go through the motions. 装装样子，敷衍了事. Idiom. To do something without thinking it is very important or having much interest in it.